This episode of An Unexpected Podcast is brought to you by Donnie Lamb.
Thank you.
Hello, friends, and welcome to An Unexpected Podcast. I'm Ez.
And I'm Lane.
And we're talking Tolkien.
We're coming to you from the Shire of America, the beautiful state of Ohio, in a little village called Amanda.
Yeah. Yes, we are. And we're actually in a really different setup here.
Yeah. We're practicing social distancing.
We are, actually.
We're a good, 8 feet from each other.
Right. Yep. This actually is the furthest away we've podcast because even the other times you were sitting over here.
This may as well be remote for us.
Yeah,
we may as well be
not
in
even
satellite.
In the same room. No, but we are in the old living room, and if you haven't had a chance to check out the YouTube and subscribe, make sure you do that because we got some surprises for you.
Is this what they do?
That's what they do. They put the arrow in the finger. But no, we're back and we're picking up where we left off last time.
Yep.
Actually, because we were talking about the Steward.
Steward.
And that's it.
Yep.
We weren't even talking about the king. So
I know.
we kind of left that off and boy, we were getting
It's crazy, man.
Because we were super analyzing, Eowyn and Faramir, and we were
we got sucked into that love story.
Yeah, we did. We really did. And sort of like her sorrow, her despair, what
and her
she
strength.
needed. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And
those desires.
And the same for Faramir, his patience and his. I almost think that if she would have just said, if she had that moment, remember there was that moment he talked about. I can't remember exactly what it said, but he essentially said that she realized or the heart of Eowyn changed, or else at least she understood it.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think even if she wouldn't have had that moment, he would have still been like, well, whatever, I'll wait forever. Yeah. I love you that much, and that's all. All I know is what's in my heart and how I feel about you and the love I have for you.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just crazy. It could have not ended the way it does, and I think Eomer. Wow, that would be weird. That'd be very weird. Faramir would have been unchanged, I think.
Yeah, it was interesting. He actually. Well, remember I told you it was almost. I don't want to say he called her out. I mean, I'm going to go back to the Shire Rats when they called Gandalf sassy and things. And there's some cleverness.
Yeah,
in
there
this.
There is.
So I don't know. It was neat just to kind of see him basically sort of say that she was interested in.
You're in love with Aragorn.
Yeah.
Yep. Whether you realized it that fully or not, you are.
Yeah.
That's what I see.
Right. And so, so she looked at Faramir long and steadily, and Faramir said, do not scorn pity that is the gift of a gentle heart.
Yeah.
Because she was talking about I want no man's pity and all this kind of stuff, and so it was complex.
It's good stuff, man. I know.
It was complex.
Worth getting sucked into for sure.
So, but now, here we are, off to a great start. So we decided this week we're just gonna dive right in.
Yeah,
we're gonna pick right back up here. We're gonna get into the king. So we are still in the Steward and the king, and we're gonna finish up here with our boy Aragorn, who's coming in. And you said at the end of this,
I'm really disappointed though you didn't read the lead up line.
I did read it in the previous episode.
There's a new one this week.
There is not.
Just you. It's enough if you just read it. I would just want you to read it.
You just make this
not out loud, but just yourself even.
Is it this week we fall in love a little?
Wait, you read that last week?
Yeah.
Dude, what is going on with my memory?
Yeah, I read that.
That's 2 straight episodes where I've done that.
What, where you thought that I didn't? Or
no, just remember further up, I forgot that I read the poll results the previous episode.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you right now.
Is this early onset?
Well, okay. So actually, no. Interesting you say that because
flip, dude.
I could not remember. I went back, and this has only been a week or so ago. But I feel like so much has happened.
Maybe that's part of it too.
I went back and I was like, did we read because we stopped midway through the chapter. Did we read Bywater Post? And I was like, I know that we did for a fact. But I was sitting there just literally, it's like I blacked out the last half of the
You may have.
Yeah, I may, you know.
You may have.
Go check the video.
That's true. Now you can.
Yeah. But no, yeah. So I mean, and truly, like this is. I mean, we got into the love story. Now we're getting some of this crowning. And this is where it's at. So now the steward's job, my friend, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but is to make the city ready,
right?
To keep it right,
to await the king's return. Really?
Yep.
So you kind of have there's a shelf life on your job, kind of a deal,
right? Yeah.
But man, it's so cool what Aragorn does.
It is cool.
Like this, I don't know. Like okay. I understand why this is one chapter. It could almost be 2 chapters.
Yeah.
If they were a little bit longer, maybe.
Right.
But then again, they go really well together. Yeah. Anyway.
Well,
I don't know.
I actually thought too, like there's some things that Aragorn does. You get sort of, you know that he did much more. You know that like some of the little, his sitting there in making rulings and things like that.
Yeah.
You know more of that happened, but we got to see the big highlights and things that happened from characters who we've already kind of
and I guess
been introduced to.
And maybe I was like thinking because
seriously,
what happened?
Oh, you know, just Gandalf blowing my phone up over here.
Okay, all right. Like I don't know. I just contradicted myself in my own mind. They're very similar, these 2 characters, and they are, you know, Faramir has been keeping track of the South, or helping keep track of the South under his father's watch. Aragorn is coming from the broken North to help reunite the North and the South, and so that makes sense why they're in why this is 1 chapter instead of 2.
Yeah.
That it's united. They're
I see.
Coming together.
It's like a structure thing.
Yeah.
Important that they be
in
the same
chapter.
Yeah, I get it.
And that they're love stories too.
Yeah.
That the stewards is the beginning, the sapling of their love.
Yeah.
And we get at the end of this chapter with Aragorn, we get the fruition.
Gosh, there is a lot.
The fruition of his love
in the second half. Actually.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. And
yes.
There's a lot.
Well, so if I missed something, just let me know.
No, yeah. Oh, no.
But I mean, really, so we start this whole thing off with them making ready the city. We talked about the light that had come back into the land and the singing that took place. Yeah. And how everyone's hearts were kind of filled with this, almost like you didn't understand quite the emotion. You knew it was a glad, happy emotion with all of the sorrow around you. It came from where, it's pretty neat.
And I had missed too that it was that whole proclamation before to sing was from one of the eagles.
Huh?
Way back when the are we talking about the same thing? Yeah. Yeah. It was the eagle who brought the tiding. An eagle who brought the tiding.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't know that. I went back and reread the second half of the first half of the chapter that we did last time, just to get my head back in the right space. And I was like, wow. Oh my gosh, it's the eagle.
Right.
Who flew over and said, sing.
So I didn't catch that either. I just went back and saw it. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. That's some next level stuff right there,
bro.
You got eagles flying over, singing and stuff. I mean,
we're
proclaiming.
To sing too.
Yeah,
okay.
Hear the glad tidings.
There's just like this. I don't know, the overall sense of this darkness being lifted. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, so there's a lot. Again, you look at the images here, and you have women and fair children, and you have
they're coming back,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have harpers.
Yeah.
The most skilled in the land, which is awesome. And you're right. Yeah, they're coming back.
Yeah.
Because this was a time of war, and yeah.
And that was one of the things that the movie was different, right? We saw when Minas Tirith is being attacked that it was like families, women and children, and we learn in the books, that it's not. It's Minas Tirith at this point was the only women around were working in the houses of healing, right? It was all soldiers. It was a battlefield camp, essentially. You know what I mean? Like it was the last stand. It was the fortress. It was a place of war. It was not a place of living. And so essentially kind of, you think about it, in a place of death, dead. And so all this stuff coming back in, the light and the music and the flowers.
Yeah, life.
It's life coming back to this place.
Right. I like that.
Which is cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought this was kind of neat, right? So the banner that is there, they actually start to talk more about banners and almost like sigils and symbols.
Yeah.
Which was pretty neat. So they're talking about the White Tower of the Citadel and the standard of the Stewards, right? And so it was like this snow in the sun, bearing no charge nor device, raised over Gondor for the last time.
Yeah.
Which, it's like that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Yep.
And it's weird to think that, but it is.
I also love that they lit lights all night and watched for the dawn. Like, you just imagine everyone staying up,
watch for the dawn,
not sleeping and waiting for, which before would have been a bad thing, right? It means you're in battle or you're awaiting a battle, and it's a different type of, it's like anxiety, and here it's like anxiousness. Like they're excited for, they don't want to go to sleep.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, let's stay up all night. It's Christmas morning tomorrow, essentially. Like, the king is coming back.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Isn't that cool? That's just awesome.
It is, because it's almost like that excitement. Like, you're really waiting for something great to happen. You can't sleep. You're not going to.
And when's the last time we had this kind of feeling or emotion?
Yeah.
Gandalf? Waiting Gandalf for the party?
Yeah, I was going to say,
it's been like a long time.
Yeah. Right. So, we kind of go back and forth here too. So we're in the city, and then we're also, now we shift over. We focus on the captains of the West and how they led their host towards the city, and folks saw them advance in line upon line, flashing and glinting in the sunrise and rippling like silver. Yeah. So here they come, and that's a great image.
Yeah, it is.
Of them coming back. So yeah, and this is where Faramir is. He's standing there before the city, and he's, you have who are in there, the warden of the keys.
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden at the end, you start to get some of these titles and stuff, and you're like, that's awesome.
And he's got to be there to like hand over the keys to the city, right? Is what I'm thinking. Yeah. Right.
So, and they bring Lady Éowyn there as well.
Get Elfhelm back too, baby.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yep. They're outside the city, just again getting ready. So now there was a wide space before the walls of Minas Tirith, and it was hemmed in upon all sides by the knights and the soldiers. And I kept noticing over and over, I don't remember when I first read this what I thought about this, but I sometimes don't think of the term knights being here. And I love knights. I love the idea of a knight. And I remember like the Knights of Dol Amroth were sort of a thing. That was the thing, you could be a knight from, and I was like, oh, that's pretty sick, but then it just depends on when he wants to use it.
He does kind of use it with power, doesn't he? Like, because sparingly, it's not all the time, and
it's not overdone.
You almost forget that there are knights.
Yeah. It's almost it's not overdone. You're sort of like, okay, that's cool because you can be a knight in Middle Earth, and that's pretty sick.
That's a really good point. And maybe I guess I don't know how many Minas Tirith had, but maybe because everyone was fighting and everyone was like a certain level of warrior, that knights were so like maybe more commonplace. Maybe. And so it's like, well, there's of course there's knights, of course.
Right.
Whereas to us, it's like, whoa, oh my gosh, there's knights.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because sometimes I like the idea of a system, and it seems weird, but like it's cool to say someone was promoted to this position or whatever.
Knighthood, we think like elite.
Personal guard.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Because the hobbits, they get their like almost like their rank, and they get into you know what I mean? Like I don't know. Just think it's cool.
I'd be the foot washer.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Don't patronize me.
Okay. So you get all these names here, right? So now there's a hush that falls over the people.
Yeah, buddy.
Which again, it's amazing too that he always mentions the sounds. You think so much about like whether it's loud or if there's silence, like, and just how it's used in the story a lot. But
sound and silence. Yep.
Yeah, this hush fell upon all as out from the host stepped the Dunedain in silver and green or in gray. Before them came walking slow the Lord Aragorn.
He was clad in black mail. Well, I could put that sentence together the right way. He was clad in black mail girt with silver, and he wore a long mantle of pure white clasped at the throat with a great jewel of green that shone from afar. I want to think that was the green stone, like the elf stone that he had.
Yeah.
But I don't totally know.
Yeah.
But his head was bare, save for a star upon his forehead, bound by a slender fillet of silver. With him were Éomer of Rohan and the Prince Imrahil and Gandalf robed in white, and 4 small figures that many men marveled to see. And we get Ireth, right? How do you say her name? Ireth?
Oh, the back and forth.
Yeah, we get her like
Yeah.
her like telling her is it her cousin? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like
They're not
so
boys.
cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so we're getting this like perspective of we're down there seeing this happen, then we're back up in Minas Tirith watching with this healer, you know, and her connection to these people. Like, oh yeah, I know who that is. That's the king. I'm the one who said hands of a healer or the hands of a king.
Yep, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
It's just a cool way to. He could have done this very typically, I don't know, like stereotypically, like down on the battlefield, third person removed, and all this grandiose. But he chooses to put us in the perspective of a character we know from before, and seeing it through her eyes.
Yeah, I can't remember how to say her name actually. But yeah, I remember her being.
We need David Sallow.
Yeah. She was, again, she was there. And that's actually pretty cool to think about that, like, when the king was in the city and the hands of the healer and that whole thing, that she was there, and to have Gandalf say what he says to her.
Yeah.
And that
your words will, forever have wisdom and all that, whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And be remembered in things.
Man.
Yeah,
it's cool.
But she keeps getting, and again, she's sort of telling this, and then it's sort of like she's interrupted, right?
Another hush. Yeah,
falls of the crowd. Trumpet is kind of ringing out, and a dead silence followed. Then forth from the gate went Faramir, and it takes again taking the keeper of the keys out there with him, and no others save behind them walked 4 men in high helms in the armor of the citadel, and they bore a great cask of black. Lebethron? It's bound with silver.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's I think that's the thing that's carrying the crown. I don't know.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think if I'm remembering.
No, you're probably right. Yeah.
Correctly.
Yeah, because he's going out there, and this is all the ceremony, right?
Yeah.
So he met Aragorn in the midst of those that were assembled, and he knelt and he said, "The last steward of Gondor begs leave to surrender his office." And he held out a white rod, but Aragorn took the rod and gave it back, saying, "That office is not ended, and it shall be thine and thy heirs as long as my line shall last." Wow.
See, and instead of coming back and like reclaiming a kingdom, he's taking what is now, 2 distant kingdoms, whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's the North and South coming together again, like this whole idea. And that he's not just saying, because, dude, he could say, "Yep, all right, man, thanks for your time, appreciate it."
Right.
But he knows, like, I'm not from Minas Tirith. I've spent a little bit of time in Gondor, but not most. This great man, knows more about what's going on here. You know what I mean, right? Isn't that part of the idea too, that like we're better together than we are apart?
Yeah.
And how it honors the idea of the stewardship.
Well,
how him saying like, "Stay here, we'll continue on." Like that honors the idea that, whereas before it was like, "Well, you're a placeholder."
No, this is important. You've done a great service here, and that his line and that it will continue, and that it should be honored, and and also I think it's like the idea that he is the steward, and he does give a lot of weight. Like it's important. You almost, not that this would happen, but let's say he weren't welcomed in, and that the steward. Actually, I think why Gandalf sort of saw that it was very important that the line of stewards continue, and that it be there. That was an important position to have and things. It makes the people, I guess, not that they wouldn't have accepted him, but it is very clean to have a passing of almost like the torch there, like here are the keys.
Well, kind of almost like, I guess sort of mirrors, right, how Bilbo like willingly gave up the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas if, any other time it's come through violence or loss or killing, that it's a bad deal.
Yes. Yeah.
And it wasn't a good deal for Frodo. Obviously, he had to do something really, really hard. But we talked. You brought that up. You're like, it's the manner in which you departed from that burden that was just as important as the fact that you did it in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is the same kind of thing. Like the fact that there is a transition. It's not like, well, there was no one here before. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's
And this guy just came in. Yeah, like you would have people like this. The position of steward is one that you've already backed, and everyone has been behind, and so to see that person of power sort of recognize the king.
Yeah.
Recognize the king. That's their job. That's what we've been waiting for. And
it's an endorsement almost.
Yeah. It would be different if the Prince of Dol Amroth was the one to do it, you know?
Right.
And or even Gandalf, right? They're here, which is important, but Faramir being there, the people trust him. They know him.
And being the son that he was too, right? That he was like people. I mean, we learn about, who was the guy who comes up later who, remember he saved him by drawing blood, right? And killing those other guys. Remember he saved Faramir?
Baragon?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, that was Baragon. Oh my gosh.
Baragon.
Yeah. Duh.
Well,
yeah, but just the fact that like
would have answered right away, but I was worried I was going to mispronounce.
Sorry, dude. Baragorn. But like the fact that he, was willing to kill his kin, his his fellow soldiers to protect Faramir. Like that's how much Faramir was loved. And so that it even goes even farther because of who he was. Yeah,
that was a lot to do that, to break, to disobey orders and to really and he's rewarded for it.
Yeah.
Yep. And so really, here it is. Once this has been given back to him, like this office has been returned, he stands up and proclaims, "This is Faramir," with a loud voice, "Men of Gondor, hear now the steward of this realm." He goes on to describe Aragorn and tell them that this is one has come to claim the kingship again at last, right? And you want to read some of this? I mean, he just kind of goes over,
Yeah.
It's just pretty. It's like almost like one big title. He's giving him.
Yes. Men of Gondor, the lore masters, tell that it was the custom of old that the king should receive the crown from his father ere he died. I love too that you can just imagine him, like projecting this, in this loud, powerful voice, and that it wouldn't be like magnified anyway, but that it would carry up into every level of Minas Tirith. You can just imagine his voice. I don't know, man. It's something about it. Like I wish we could have seen this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like when he's saying, kind of, he's like some of the things, captain of the host of the West, bearer of the star of the North, wielder of the sword reforged. All this kind of
okay,
like booming, like you say, like that booming voice, sort of like letting people know,
and the pace it has too, and the rhythm too. It's like he's this and he's this, and just like a proclamation. It's a proclamation of who this king is. In case you didn't know, right? In case you didn't know, this guy has been working really hard to ensure that we survive and that we have victory and that this kingdom continues.
Right, and it's like also I'm sure that like rumors have been heard. There's been prophecy that these things would need to be done, and some of them have heard about it, and so now we're hearing that these things have been fulfilled, and here's one who has done these deeds.
Yeah, I love it, man.
And this is someone. It's also, to me, you kind of think about like this was the king they didn't know they had. And he was out there fighting this fight.
And you forget about that because we've been getting to know him for so long. But
right.
we forget about that most people had no idea he even existed.
Right.
He was in exile. He was like, wow. I hadn't even thought about that until right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's just kind of neat. So, and I think that's why you need Faramir, and that's why he is so important. But yeah, so this is, as you say, that they bring forth the ancient crown, right? And it's just pretty neat that they describe it being all white, right?
Yep.
Wings at either side, wrought in pearl, silver.
Yeah.
The likeness of wings of a seabird.
Yeah.
So pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome crown.
I love that the single jewel at its summit went up like a flame, because I think of Flame of the West and Anduril, right?
Yes,
reforged and all that.
And so is that pretty? Would you say that's pretty close to what we see in the movie?
I mean, the way it's described there, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's exactly the
right.
Yeah, and how cool that Tolkien gave these descriptions too, like that are specific enough that there's certain things you got to look for, but also I don't want to say vague enough, but suggestive enough that artists can create.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's amazing.
Right. Yeah.
I can sing this if you want me to.
Sing it. Sing it.
I've been waiting for this for a long time, bro.
Yeah, because he's holding up the crown, right?
Oh my gosh. All right. So, you got Aragorn taking the crown, held it up and said, Etarelo endore nautulien sinume maruvan arendenya tenamban meta. Sorry, guys. I have
Let's go.
since I was a 12-year-old, I would, or however old I was when Return of the King came out, I would just sit there and love that scene and sing along with it.
You often sing that sometimes. Yeah. God. Oh, it's so good. God.
It's nice, huh?
It is nice. It is nice. And actually, it's interesting the way that is sung, because you would think it's more of a, like when I heard it read and when I read it myself, I thought, oh, it's. I didn't even really recognize. I didn't even make the connection until you were singing it, and I kind of thought because you were singing that earlier. You know that, right?
When?
You were singing that earlier today.
I don't remember that.
Yes, you were.
What's that,
yes.
really?
Yes, you were. Because I kind of thought, oh, that's that. We joked about the movies, but you were like you were singing it at one point. And I was like, okay, that's it. That's the spot. Yeah,
dude. He wrote that melody too. Did you know that?
Did he? That's what I was saying.
That's the spot, bro.
Right? I mean, but that's kind of what I was saying.
Yeah, Vigo wrote that melody. Yeah,
it's like you almost like it feels slower and sort of like a sacred type of thing.
Yes.
Versus these loud, like right.
Yeah.
It's almost like, again, you like that hush that falls over the crowd. You're like, okay, now that makes sense why they did that in the film. Why that melody makes sense. So,
and because it is like another like proclamation. It's out of the great sea to Middle Earth I am come. In this place will I abide, and my heirs unto the ending of the world. And also kind of interesting too, I think, like maybe you think back to, okay, so Numenor, and then you think of ancient times, and you think of even the beginnings of the world, and it was through song, through singing, that the world was brought into being, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's through his singing of this. Maybe that's partially why they did in a more of like a song version of the film, like a recreation, a rebirth of this kingdom.
Yeah,
beginning through music and through a melody.
That's cool. Yeah, I like that.
Maybe.
Oh wow. What now? Here's the thing. We've been talking about Aragorn for a long time, and just how awesome he is, and how considerate in what he thinks, and he doesn't think too much of himself. He was just all of those titles.
Yeah.
Were given.
Right.
But all of those titles would be for naught if it weren't for Frodo.
I know.
The Nine-Fingered.
I know, dude. Frodo. Dude. It's amazing. Like, even like, because
he flat out tells Faramir, who he wants to bring the crown to him.
And I think it's also interesting that he, like the ring bearer, bears the crown. Mm-hmm. It's intentional, right? It has to be like Frodo was the one who carried this burden. He's going to carry the crown, right? Yep. To Gandalf, who deserves praise beyond all others, and he'll be the one to put it upon my head, because it's only because of him that I can even be here and do that. We can be here and do this.
Right.
The symbolism, it's just crazy. And again, there's three of them.
Yeah.
Frodo, Gandalf, Aragorn, and it's like, wow, here we go. Yeah,
it is pretty interesting to think that like Gandalf does sort of settle this on. He does sort of place this burden, on Frodo. He is the one maneuvering everything, and it's like if he were able to, whatever, but he knows like that. The hard thing is that I think sometimes you do want to just. I think of Gandalf and I think like, he would want to just maybe take all this on himself. Mm-hmm. But the harder thing is to say, that's not what's going to get it done.
Yeah, right.
And it's
the faith that he had to have in his choices and the people around him too, and the people that he helped encourage even.
Mm-hmm. I literally think, and I just had this thought, about Narnia and Aslan and the task that he gives to go find the fruit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you know where we're at in that and it's to me it's sort of like, wow, that's sometimes what you have to do. And so Frodo is given this task, and it makes it
even greater, doesn't it? It makes the accomplishment even greater. Also, something interesting I thought about. You know, he talks about out of the great sea to Middle Earth, I am come, and obviously talking about Numenor, right, and the beginnings of Gondor and Arnor in the north. But I thought it was interesting that Isildur was coming eastward, right? Or the men of Numenor, I guess, really came eastward.
Yes,
and you've got Aragorn returning from the east.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so the origins were, coming eastward and then being saved. They're returning from an evil that was in the east.
Right. Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. So we get Frodo, bringing the crown forward and giving to Gandalf and then the whole thing, which is awesome. So, wow. Now come the days of the king. And may he be blessed while the throne of the Valar endure. I mean, at one point too, he even says like he's going to dwell in this city until the end, like in his descendants and his heirs
until the end of
until the end of the world.
Have we? How often? Okay, so I can't remember because it's only recently that I've like actually understood who the Valar are in some even remote, level or whatever. But like, when's the last time we heard them mentioned? Has it been a while?
It has been a while. I think it has. Yeah,
because I can't remember the last time we talked about them. Like maybe in Rivendell.
Maybe
I don't even know, dude.
And like actually, I think that's interesting, right? That you just throw this in here,
right?
So it's
remember, they're still there.
Yeah, but are they? It's again one of those things that's so old and so ancient that really, and it's like it's again weird because we know where. Like, it makes me even wonder more about, like, what do they know about Gandalf?
Yeah.
And the elves know more, but again, we're talking to, like...
Well, and you think about the hobbits before the Pippin's, like, inner monologue, where he's, like, torn between the old firework craftsman and then who he's seeing now, this great warrior, and how he would catch glimpses of that Gandalf he knew back in the Shire, and then this Gandalf who was doing these great things, and it was, like, almost kind of bewildering to him, right? Because he was like, "Well, that's Gandalf. Okay, well, so I know a different Gandalf." So
here's something. I don't know if this just maybe. I kind of think this line does almost go over the listeners' heads because it is Gandalf who says it. He is the one who says that,
right?
And so it makes sense that he would be the one to recognize that. Yeah, and you almost think maybe some of the elves there know, and Aragorn understands.
Aragorn knows,
but.
And probably even Faramir. I bet Faramir would know.
Yeah. That's interesting.
It
I
is
almost would want to know more about that and to understand what they do, either know or suspect or what have you. Because again, I go back to the Tom Shippey, like what I've been reading about, in that the idea that there would be no, like the Valar would not step out. Like there would be, like they sent, these wizards in for a reason. This is their task.
And how you've talked about how it's like it mirrors our time now.
Yeah, and that there will be no great sign.
Right.
Yeah, and it's sort of like that's where you have to just have that faith, walk by faith and not by. So you're not going to see. So then to have Gandalf make a reference to that, you're like, what is it? Is this Gandalf over there smoking the old Dobie again, or what? Is this place real? I mean, what's going on? So I don't know. I think that's
cool, dude.
Kind of interesting to think about or speculate on.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then when he arises, I mean, again, and he's so tall. They mentioned that just how tall Aragorn is, and that everyone could kind of see him, and just get Faramir's behold the king.
Yeah, and he seemed ancient of days, yet in the flower of manhood. So old and yet young, and just all these things, wise and strong, and a healer, and this light about him. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah. Then back to the banner, right? So then the banner of the tree and the stars.
Yeah.
That comes out, and then as he's going into the city, you've got the keeper of the keys kind of leading him, opening the door, and then in he goes. Man, and then in his time the city was made more fair than it had ever been, even in the days of its first glory.
Yeah.
So what is that? I mean, like, like that's
I know.
right. So they talk about the trees coming back, fountains, mithril, right? Like what? I mean, relationships with. I mean, like how long did that take? I mean,
Okay, so I underline this because I think I know what this means, but I wanted to check with you because you're the wizard, right? When Tolkien says, "And the folk of the mountain labored in it," that means dwarves came and worked, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that the folk of the wood rejoiced to come there. So the elves that were still around.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought that was crazy to think.
Well, because
the three.
Yes.
because
Yeah.
of
this fellowship. Because of this fellowship,
I know, man. I know.
It brought them. I think it brought them back together, and it's literally what this paragraph actually does is it tells us a lot about what happened.
Yes.
And stuff
and
that
even distant into the future
that's
as
what I
well.
mean.
Yeah,
Yes.
just like a general.
This didn't happen overnight. They didn't just all of a sudden have mithril, coated gates and stuff.
Right.
Like, yeah, it took time and things. So that I think is awesome.
Yeah,
and they talk about the ending of the third age, right?
Yep.
Of the world, and then on into the new age.
Yeah.
Right, and it preserved the memory and the glory of the years that were gone.
I also love too that. But I love too that. So in the movie, it happens. Up by the throne room, right? The coronation happens up high on the 7th level and everything, which is cool. But I love how here it's like he's crowned outside the city, and comes in a king, and how it's even symbolic too that like the work that was done to preserve this place was done outside its walls,
right,
as well, and that is also part of it. I don't know. It's just so much more like meaningful, I think, like this way.
Yes.
And I don't know. I'm not medievally educated, but like probably more true of how that would have been.
Yeah, it's all those things that happened outside of the kingdom that got you into the kingdom, or got you the kingdom, or that people then even if you were when you're considering who is even next in line for something, it's sort of like, well, we're picking the guy who we know the tales that were told of this man outside of the city gates, and the defense that took place. That guy's going to defend it. He's so that makes a lot of sense. Actually,
it's cool.
I never even thought about that though, but that he is crowned, even though we just read that, like it's outside the city, and it's so it's weird too sometimes, like just the blending of because I'm seeing
he does
that
it
ceremony
so beautifully.
And it's just like, I don't know, it's neat.
I think that's part of like why it's so rereadable, right? It's because you're just swept away from like amazing scene to amazing scene, and you've just missed stuff because it's such a beautiful flow. Like his narrative, such a beautiful flow that you're like, oh yeah, well of course, all right. And you don't even necessarily have time always to stop and think about. You don't, think about that's why we do this together, right? You catch things that I would never see. I see things that you missed, right? And it's like, oh yeah, okay, wow, right,
yeah.
And the book club, like that's why the book club's great. Is like people will pop in and say, hey, you guys missed this. Like this is a big deal, or like I'm surprised. This is something that meant something to me, and
right. Well, because one of the things I think before we started this, I was maybe it was even in the beginning of the episode. That's how my mind is right now.
Yeah, bro.
But like we were kind of talking about, like the idea that I feel like a lot of the things that happen, especially right now. So we talk about like the time following. It just says this: in the days that followed the crowning of the king, that he sat on his throne in the hall of the kings, and he pronounced his judgments. And I said to you, like, how many of those, like what we read here is far less than what actually he did. And so I love when writers do that, because then I think to myself, okay.
Yeah.
I can see all the other little stories and all the little side quests and things that
it's the empty spaces, right? The white spaces.
Yes, that weren't filled in and that aren't going to be filled in, but they're for us to fill in.
Imagine.
And I think that's pretty neat because like he does some great things, and he did, literally, like he had these representatives coming from Mirkwood and different places which were good, and from Dunlin.
Yeah.
And then he's also pardoning people.
Yes. Yeah. This was huge. The king pardoned the Easterlings that had given themselves up and sent them away free, and he made peace with the people of Harad. And the slaves of Mordor he released and gave to them the lands about the Lake Nurnen to be their own. And there were brought before him many to receive his praise and reward for their valor. And last, the captain of the guard brought to him Baragond to be judged. And also, too, how important this is, right? And that what we're about to see, we're told what happened with the Easterlings and the Harad and all these other groups of people, the slaves even. But like, we're going to sit in on this one with Baragond because
we were there before and we know his story,
right? And we know how severe and how serious what he did was,
right?
And we know that Aragorn's going to do the right thing, and it's going to be amazing, and it's going to teach us something too.
Yes, and it does. So eventually, he pretty much says that it's because of his valor in battle, and because, what is it to say, and still more because all that you did was for the love of the Lord Faramir.
Yeah.
Right. But then he says, because of that, because of you basically going against the Citadel, the Order, you cannot be a part of it
here, right?
Anymore,
right?
And at first he's upset by that, right?
Right, yeah. And I love too that he even brings up too, like he says, of the laws of old, or your penalty would have been death.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You should have been killed, but that's not what I'm going to do.
Yeah, because he left his post without leave, right?
Right.
Of lord or captain. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't even the action that he did, right? It was just that he left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, blood was spilled, yeah. So,
well, yeah, okay, there you go. It's in there too. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just neat that, so you get the, because I remember I was like, whoa, I was like, come on now. I mean, at first, like, you read it, like, just give it 2 sentences, give it 2 more lines,
yep.
And he comes right back with, like, he's out of the Citadel Guard, he's out of the Guard of the Citadel, but then he is now appointed to the White Company.
Yeah.
The White Company.
Yeah.
It sounds like a good company to be. That's like awesome, So it's the Guard of Faramir, right? Prince of Ithilien, which is just sick too.
Yeah.
That he's also giving Faramir, that he is a prince. He still has his position, his title, and everything. And
of Ithilien, a region that he fought so long to protect too.
Yes.
The Garden of Gondor.
Yep. Right. And then again, Baragorn is Baragorn. Good God, it's haunting me to this day. Oh my God. Perceiving the mercy and justice of the king was glad, and he kissed his hand and he departs in joy.
Do you think Baragorn's dad's name was Barathorn? Probably
Barathorn. It would have to be.
totally, dude.
I need a shirt now. I need a shirt with. Someone's gonna make it and bring it to LEP3, which is gonna be great. Yeah. So, anyways, the princedom that was given is just awesome.
Yeah.
And really neat. Now, Minas Ithil, right? This the Morgul Vale. Like, they talk about it being utterly destroyed and it being basically like no one can inhabit or live there for
a long time.
Which
I thought was interesting. It's not forever.
Right. Why does he do that?
I almost think because it kind of sounds like something Sauron would say.
Uh-huh.
Or something that evil would do is, like it's a what is it called? A
curse? What are you doing?
Nah, it's
Yep.
Fudge.
I have no idea.
It's a daggum, dude. Like, this is what it's doing to me.
Uh-huh. You're yeah.
It's a
you're not gonna
fudge.
You know what I thought?
It's an extreme. What is that called? It's when it's
an exaggeration?
No, it's not the word.
No, you'll think of it. Let me tell you what I thought, though, because I actually I thought it was interesting that it's just not like no man may dwell there for many long years. It made me think that, well, I mean, again, when this is written, Tolkien, who knows what he's thinking, right? Was he thinking of times to come? Like did he
More
have a
stories
story
to write?
Right? Like, so like this area was not inhabited for many long years, right? And then it was by who, right? Or whatever, right? So
or that you could, well, maybe
or why?
The implication is like the magic there is so like ingrained into the earth because of what was done there and how long. that if you'd probably still be bewitched and enchanted.
Yeah, I mean, it says the may in time come to be made clean. So it's not clean now,
Right.
And it needs to be clean. And so who's gonna? I mean, what is
The
it?
earth
Just
itself.
over time? Is
Yeah,
it just-
probably. I mean, that's what I think. I think like, you know how we saw that there were even thorns and brambles.
Yes.
In Mordor, right? And how it's like the earth cleansing itself somehow. Well, kind of like what's going on right now with COVID-19, bro. Mm-hmm. You know, the canals in Venice are clean. You can see to the bottom. Mm-hmm. China has been able to see blue skies. Mm-hmm. Whales and dolphins and stuff are getting closer to shore than ever before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The world can heal itself. We just get in the way.
Yeah. That is interesting. I did see all that. Yeah.
I won't. I was going to share a joke. Should I?
Yeah. Maybe
later.
Maybe. So, yeah, I mean, anyways, I just thought that was interesting. You know, like why is it that we don't get like a, why even put that in there? Why even just so, okay, well, there's more time. We need time to heal, time to whatever. But I thought maybe he's thinking about the future and he's thinking about another age to come.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Another story or something.
You know, another story like Aragorn's descendants would have to deal with that once again.
Yeah.
You know, or something. Who knows?
See, and I thought, to me, the way it hit me was like someday even that too will be healed. And someday people will be able to live there. But not yet.
Right.
Not yet. Like there are some things that still need to be done. Mm-hmm. Dang it. What was the word I'm looking for, dude?
You'll find it.
Not ultimatum. It's just like extreme. Like that's like something. It's black and white. It's fudge. What is that word? Doesn't even matter.
It's
killing me though.
It probably does. But we'll be 3 pages later and it'll come to you. So now what I think is really neat, Éomer, right, is there, and this is cool because they're kind of embracing and two kings,
so amazing, man.
Which is pretty cool. And
we are brethren.
Yeah, and they are, and it's basic. Like he talks about Errol when he rode from the north, right, and he came to their aid, and just how this is similar. But between us there can be no word of giving or taking nor reward. Yeah. For we are brethren.
Yep.
I mean, it's really like...
Well, I wish we would have gotten this relationship in the books.
Yeah.
We don't... in the films. We don't get this at all. And I know that I'm skipping ahead because they talk about Theoden and his, resting place. But Éomer says, since the day when you rose before me out of the green grass of the downs, I have loved you.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And that love shall not fail. Like, we don't get anything remotely close. We don't even see a conversation between them in the movies.
Yeah.
They never have a conversation.
Right. Yeah.
Like, why? Why was that? Well, we don't need that. This is huge.
Yeah.
He doesn't have this conversation with Legolas. Doesn't have it with Gimli. Doesn't have it with anybody else that he's been through this journey with up to this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know. It really is sort of, I thought it was like an elevating of this kingdom and this group of people. And it also, because there's always been a difference, or they've drawn a difference between those who, this great race of men who had come from Numenor, right? As if the others who were, who had stayed or whatever, were not as great or something. Or it just seems like, I don't know, if you weren't a part of one of those two kingdoms, then, you know what I'm saying?
But these kingdoms are linked though, aren't they? Like there's some trace of Numenorian descendancy within them. Yeah,
but it like for the longest time, it feels like they haven't been like they're lesser. Yeah, they're lesser for some reason. Maybe I don't know why that would be, but
they're the horse lords.
Yeah, the horse lords. Yeah, it felt like with this they're elevated. It seems like they're at a level where it's sort of like because they had their own language. They were very different and stuff. So I don't know. To me, it was cool because I like them so much. It's like they're almost like they were second class, Well,
so it's nice to see them recognized for what they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like you think about it, without the ride, none of this is happening.
No. That's sort of the point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you said that they talk about Theoden and his tomb and where he should go, and and so he kind of talks that like for now,
Keep him here. Yep. Let him rest here for a little bit.
Right.
Let him sleep for a while.
Yeah.
Here. Mm-hmm.
But he must go back to his own land, right? And he has to look on it once again and help. And help out there.
This is where we get the bit too, where Eowyn's going to go for a while.
Yes.
And she says, I'll I will return to you, Faramir.
Yep, she does. She does. Yeah. So.
And when Theoden is put to rest.
Yeah.
In.
So there's just work to be done. There's just things that they need to finish up, and they're going to go there for a while. Because again, it's like their people are still at unrest. I mean, they still want to know what happened to their warriors and to their king.
Yeah.
They had a king ride away,
true.
right? And so it's like you have to go back and put that right, and those people deserve that. So
and tell those tales too, right? Yeah, and celebrate what happened, and there are still pockets of remnants of, like the enemy around as well, and those have to be dealt with too.
Yes, right.
Even orcs.
Not completely over.
No, it's not cleansed yet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, So now we kind of have this another like break here where so the glad days passed, and on the 8th day of May, the riders of Rohan made ready, and they ride off, right?
Yeah.
With the sons of Elrond.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
cool. Adam Driver twice.
Yeah. And then you kind of have people sort of that dwelt far went back to their homes rejoicing, but in the city there was labor of many willing hands to rebuild and to renew and to remove all the scars of war. And this is where I said like that other paragraph kind of flashed forward and showed us what the city would become.
Yeah.
And how, but then now we see sort of this return here to we need to cleanse the city and heal it and remove the scars. Don't
you love too that Aragorn he can't let go of the Fellowship?
Yeah.
He's like, guys, now we're just gonna stay a little bit longer.
Yes.
And part of it's probably because he's like so busy, right? He's doing all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's like thrown into the role of being a king, and he was handed out medals and honors and stuff, right? And praises as well as pardoning people and all these things, like stuff that like a king does. Kingly duties, right?
Yeah.
And so he's not sitting around hanging out with Legolas and Gimli. He's not smoking pipe weed with the hobbits. He's probably talking to Gandalf quite a bit, but it's like all council stuff. It's the dude's got to decompress, and so he wants to have that time with the Fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
And like, how hard would that be to let go of them too? And then like even the conversation he has with Gandalf too.
Yeah. About what?
Later on, just like I'm not gonna be around, man.
Yeah.
Like Gandalf's like, this is up to you now. My great enemy was Sauron, Sauron, and I'm not going to be here forever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My time is done. It's like the time of man has come. It's just crazy to think about. Like, Aragorn's always had Gandalf. He's always had like, I don't know. You think it's almost like he's almost like his father in a way.
Yeah, and he.
Well, and Elrond, I guess Elrond's like mostly like his father, but he's a father figure to him.
Right. He's been this great
guide and sage and all that stuff.
Right. I think it's interesting. Like you said, like he doesn't want this to end, and he wants sort of to, because like you have the Fellowship back, you have the companions back, and you haven't really had time to interact with them or to whatever. So. And this is a great day he's been waiting for. And he wants his friends. He says that he wants his friends near him in the day that he's waiting for.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I forget that's what also part of what he's holding on to.
Yeah. Well, and that's sort of what, so it's neat too. Like Frodo's like, this is great and all, but I am thinking about the Shire and Bilbo. He's waiting for us.
True.
And stuff. Yep. And so the Gandalf says, but Bilbo's also, he is waiting for the same day.
Yeah.
And he knows what keeps you. As for the passing of the days, it is now only May, and high summer is not yet, right? So he's basically telling him like it's not that you got time.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Wow.
Which is true. When you were like Sam and Frodo and living minute to minute, like a month would seem like forever, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Especially when they're not in the same circumstances. Everything is fine. They're not. Their minds are used to thinking constantly, or like in Frodo's case, fighting constantly, right? The influence of the ring, and now it's like they got some downtime, and you wouldn't know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Think about like soldiers who go off to war, right? And then they come back.
Yeah.
It's like, what am I supposed to do?
Right. Something I just kind of got here. This is interesting. You remember how when Gandalf came back, they all were a little bit like, he's lost something, but he's gained something too.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
he's different. Oh boy, or he's off.
Yeah.
Pippin is kind of funny here when he says that, didn't you say that Gandalf was less close than of old? He was weary of his labors then. I think now he's recovering, and it's almost like Gandalf. But before
I had to read this like 20 times.
Yeah, what's being communicated there is that like Gandalf is sort of telling Frodo, he's almost giddy with excitement, like just wait a little bit longer. He knows what we're waiting for, and he also knows
Speaking
Bilbo's
in riddles
coming.
again.
Yeah, he's back to his old self a little bit.
Back to him old self.
Back to him old self. But truly, and this is this is what he says. Many folk like to know beforehand what is to be set on the table, but those who have labored to prepare the feast like to keep their secrets. For wonder makes the words of praise louder.
Yeah.
And Aragorn himself waits for a sign. So it's like he's almost just giddy to kind of he knows what good is coming and can't tell. It's a surprise. So but there came a day when Gandalf could not be found, and the companions wondered what was going forward. But Gandalf took Aragorn out from the city by night and brought him to the southern feet of this mountain. And this is where he goes and he finds sort of like that seed and that sapling, right?
Yeah.
And he's able to bring back like the sacred tree.
Yeah, it's so cool that this was like a hallow where only the kings went. Mm-hmm. It was like it's a high up above in Mindolluin, high above Minas Tirith in that mountain, and it's a place that only the kings came to.
Yeah.
And so, and just what happens is crazy. Like we learn about how it's almost as miraculous that they find this sapling as the ring being destroyed. Mm-hmm. Right? Like it's I love this. This part hit me hard this time. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It was just crazy. I also love the comparison of the towers of the city looking like white pencils down below. I thought that was an interesting, like, Tolkien's like, I don't know, they're like pencils. What else can I compare? Like, it's just funny. It's such a funny comparison. And all the Vale of Anduin was like a garden, and the mountains of shadow were veiled in a golden mist. So very interesting too. Upon the one side of their sight reached to the gray Emyn Muil and the glint of Rauris, so they can see all the way back to where Boromir fell, right?
Right.
Was like a star twinkling far off. And upon the other side, they saw the river like a ribbon laid down to Pelargir. And beyond that was a light on the hem of the sky that spoke of the sea. So also cool that like kings could come up there and see where they came from. Mm-hmm. The seas. Gandalf said, "This is your realm." It's almost like, dude, this is almost like Mufasa bringing Simba up, right?
Yeah.
Like the kings look up, right there. This is your realm, in the heart of the greater realm that shall be. The third age of the world is ended, and the new age is begun. And it is your task to order its beginning and to preserve that may be preserved. So it's also kind of, I think it's almost kind of like this to me feels like, to put it in my religious spiritual lens, I guess, is like the mountain of transfiguration. Mm-hmm. Right? When Jesus went up and he was given this message from God, and he came down, and his disciples didn't even necessarily recognize him.
Yeah.
He was transformed into, and he was given this mission, and just it's kind of what it reminds me of.
Yeah, I get that. You're going up here and you're seeing your kingdom. You're being told that this is, how you're going to rule. And then, because even you're about to get to it where you ask Gandalf, I still want your counsel.
Right. But and also this interesting detail that though much has been saved, because the ring was destroyed, the three rings also are ended. Their power is gone. Right. And all the lands that you see and those that lie around them. So essentially saying all these different kingdoms that were around before, those you're in charge of those as well. Like helping with that. Dominion of men and the elder kindred shall fade or depart. I know it well, dear friend, said Aragorn, but I would still have your counsel. Yeah, like you said, as but Gandalf says, not for long. This was my age. My enemy was Sauron, and my work is finished. I shall go soon. The burden must lie now upon you and your kindred. And this is where he comes to that, realization, like, I'm going to die. I'll live a long, long time, right? Long time, but I'm still going to die. And who shall govern then? Who will the people of the city look to? If my desire is not granted. The tree in the court of the fountain is still withered and barren. When shall I see a sign that will ever be otherwise? And so it's funny that this tree is tied to the future of the line of kings, right? And he's thinking like, am I going to get this promise? Like, will Elrond's blessing of his daughter be given to me? Will she, be my wife? Will we have kids? Like, will we have our family? The whole thing I've been desiring, right? And it's Gandalf who says what? What does he say?
Yeah, so he tells him to turn and look. So he's talking about the withering of this tree and how, he's looking for a sign, right? So if it's cold and withered and dead and dying, look in that place. Turn away from the green land and this. So he turns back and he looks, and that's where he sees this sapling growing. It's crazy. And it's sort of like out of this nothing, or in this place of barren, like that desire, what you are looking for, is growing and is coming forth.
Which isn't it funny, because that mirrors him exactly. Out of the wastelands of the north, the king rose.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he didn't even think to look. Like, it's just so funny that, yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty neat. I mean, it's like, I was going to do some digging. I didn't get a chance to do it, but like on the connection, like this being connected to the eldest of trees.
Yeah, the first tree.
And stuff, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, he looks back and this is the sign that he wanted to see. So now he can bring this sapling back and can plant it. Yeah. Which is awesome. So, and
also cool that it just shows his reverence for trees, right? His love of trees and respect for those that, like, the lineage. It's just crazy. Like, you think of like people and even sometimes animals having this kind of lineage, but definitely not trees. We don't name trees and trace them back to their parents. Maybe if you're a tree farmer, you might do that.
Yeah.
But like when he talks about the sapling, it's a line of Nimloth the Fair, and that was a seedling of Galathylion, and that a fruit of Telperion, of many names, eldest of trees. Just so cool. Yeah. So cool.
Well, it's like, and so how does it get here, right? I mean, like what are the odds?
Who knows?
Right? That it's there.
Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So, yeah, the sign has been
Remember
given.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. And the day is not far off. Wow. And he set watchmen upon the walls. So, he takes it back and is able to. It's actually it's easy to remove, right, without hurt. Like he's talking about, like
just picks it right up. I love the line that Gandalf has too. He says, "Oh my God, it's so good. Who shall say how it comes to the appointed hour?" Like what you're talking about, right? But this is an ancient hallow, and ere the kings failed or the tree withered in the court, a fruit must have been set here. For it is said that though the fruit of the tree comes seldom to ripeness, right? So like doesn't happen often. Yet the life within may lie sleeping through many long years. So it can lie dormant there for a long time, and none can foretell the time in which it will awake. Remember this. For if ever a fruit ripens, it should not be planted, or it should be planted, lest the line die out of the world. Here it is lain hidden in the mountains, even as the race of Elendil lay hidden in the wastes of the north.
Yeah.
Yet the line of Nimloth is older far than your line, King Elisar. Just. Yeah. It's almost like here's the last lesson, Aragorn. Well, the last lesson.
Yeah. And also like, gosh, to preservation. It's all, woven in there, yep. which is really cool.
Crazy. Honor the past and make the future better.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's that. There's a sign, and that's pretty neat.
So good.
Yeah. So now we move back to sort of what is it? Midsummer, right?
Yep.
It was the day before midsummer, right? When the messengers come, and at last they had come. Let all the city be made ready. and we're our hobbits are still kind of wondering like what in the world.
We're ready to go home. Rosie Cotton's waiting for
right.
me.
We're So here we go.
This is good, man.
Here we go.
This is real good. I love too that you look at it on the page, right? And it's not that long.
Yeah.
It's not that long. And I almost think it's sweeter because it's not blown up. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Not a bunch of dialogue. It conveys the feeling and the emotions that happened on that day. Mm-hmm. It paints a picture, I think, almost more than, I don't know, like giving us every detail. And I think it's more beautiful because of that.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, how would you process it? Like, okay, here you go. I look back on my wedding day, man, and I'm like, I don't know. Like half of it, I don't even remember. It went by so quickly. And it's this beautiful thing. Like, it's just this beautiful 3 paragraphs.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It just is.
Yes, it is.
Like, I couldn't, you know what I mean? Like, you have those days, you have those moments where you're like, I couldn't even explain it to you if I wanted to. Here's the best I can do.
Right.
You know?
Right. Oh, my friend.
It's good, I know.
Well, so it's this host too.
Yeah.
That's coming. So it's like, you think of
Your boy's there too, isn't he? Yeah.
Glorfindel. Glorfindel. Oh boy. Did I just wake Winnie up? I just woke Winnie up, didn't I?
No, dude. She's probably dreaming of a Glorfindel.
Hopefully she is. That's great. But yeah, so you got, the sons of Elrond are riding up there, and then Glorfindel's there with them.
Yep.
You got Galadriel. Man, like everyone is just right. Like it's. I thought too, it's sort of like this honor host that is coming to sort of honor them, and it's full of. And this is not. So here's the thing. It's not like this is just. He's any king who doesn't know these people, and these are people he doesn't know who are.
Right.
He knows these people.
Yep.
All right. And that's I think what makes it on your wedding. You want your friends and your families and those who know, like, to bear witness to this whole thing.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like these are it would be you're a king, and so maybe you're gonna have different people from a similar status, but no, this was a king who didn't just like he was there. He's walked through Lothlorien, and he knows these places and these. Individuals fought alongside him, so
yes,
it's more than just some I don't know.
Yeah, just dignitaries coming from
there you go
other realms. Of,
yeah.
Well, I could find that word, but I couldn't find the one I wanted earlier.
Right.
It's annoying.
Yeah, so then they come in here that they're all clad and they're all decked out, and man, so Elrond's bringing his daughter.
I love. So it's kind of cool that we got this in the films, like when. We almost kind of got this exact moment just transposed to when Frodo, after he's stabbed, and Arwen comes to ride and find them, right? Mm-hmm. This moment of Frodo when he saw her come glimmering in the evening with stars on her brow and a sweet fragrance about her, was moved with great wonder. And he said to Gandalf, "At last, I understand why we have waited. This is the ending. Not day only shall be beloved, but night too shall be beautiful and blessed, and all its fear pass away." And I thought all the way back and all the many times where it was, we can't talk about this at night.
Yes.
We better wait for the daylight.
Right.
No more of that.
No more.
That feeling and that fear of night is gone forever. Like, who wouldn't I would love that. I would love it to be gone. I was scared just last night. Then the king welcomed his guests, and they alighted, and Elrond surrendered the scepter and laid the hand of his daughter in the hand of the king. And together they went up into the high city, and all the stars flowered in the night, or in the sky. And Aragorn, the king Elessar, wedded Arwen Ondamiel in the city of the kings upon the day of midsummer, and the tale of their long waiting and labors had come to fulfillment. So just this theme in this entire chapter is patience, labor, long waiting. You have it with the sapling.
Yep.
You have it with their love. You have it with the whole idea of this returning of the king to Minas Tirith,
right.
Gondor being made whole. And then even just like, I think it's so cool. Like, the beginning of this chapter is the beginning of relationship.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of love. It's the budding of love. And the second part is all about the fruition of a relationship. Like they had to wait, they had to fight, they had to go through all this stuff, and now finally they can be together.
Right.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It is. And there's so many different lessons, and it's thick. It was one of those things like we were saying last week. Or,
it was so good that you were like, dude, let's blow this up into two.
Oh yeah, because
so good.
Well, it's hard to just sort of, like sometimes we're able to kind of, all right, we can move through some of this imagery and stuff like that. But now there was lessons in every single paragraph, and there were things to really think about. I think just in terms of like, because like Tolkien's doing a lot. He's not just like he's showing, like there's so many, like we said, all those different spaces that you can fill in and these things. He doesn't do too much, but he does enough to sort of like let you know, like, wow, stuff is really moving along here, and like this is like
in a short period of time too.
Yeah, it's progressing quickly, but
also how, like you said, how he foreshadows way into the future.
Yes,
like he gives us that, and that also indicates like maybe we're not going to be dealing with this much longer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like we're going on to other things.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, so when King Aragorn gets sick, what do you call it?
Don't know.
He gets a coronavirus.
Wow.
Corona means crown.
Really? Wow. You're right, it does actually. I just thought, oh wow. Okay, all right, well, there you go, friends. Joke.
It had to happen this chapter.
Wow. Okay.
Just life again, imitating what's going on.
Yeah. Well, there would be another chapter where it would be even close to
That's true. That's very true. It's very true.
Yeah.
So hopefully, like we said, we've been doing. We haven't been going out much. Have you been going out much?
No.
This is kind of like quick counsel here.
Yeah.
Trying to avoid, taking the CDC's advice and making sure that we're staying, not going out unless it's necessary, kind of a deal. So hopefully that where you are, you're able to do the same thing. A lot of people though are still having to work.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Still having to work. Like we're working, but we're at home. We can do our job at home.
Yes.
But there are a lot of people, man, that still have to go into their job. And it's just crazy. So we're thinking about, I made a joke, but seriously, we're thinking about everybody and hoping that everyone's staying safe. And that especially, the most affected, the elderly, that like people in your life are all right and being taken care of if they're feeling ill. So we're thinking about everybody. It's a weird, unprecedented time. Like in our lifetime, this has never happened before. It's never happened.
No, it hasn't. And it's, I don't know, man. It's like I told you right before the show started, and this is just, I don't need to say who, but I had a close friend basically tell me that they're getting laid off.
Yeah.
Crazy. And they would not have.
True.
If this wouldn't have been a thing. And that's been made very clear. And even that they may be rehired after this is all over. But it's incredible.
Nuts,
It's unbelievable. So, we love you guys, and we know there's a lot going on out there and stuff. Because we've kept sort of our same schedule. We're not doing anything crazy. We're just kind of trying to. You want to keep some normalcy, and you just want to try to keep some things, going if you can. Because when things get kind of disrupted like that, you're like, well, what can I turn to? And this is a great thing, I think, to turn to.
Yeah, sure.
If we're able. And we're able, and some people aren't. And it's so. Go back just a couple months ago when I was saying, like, I don't know whatever it was, but I was saying 2020, and I was excited. I was inspired by this new year and these different things. And so really, I am blessed, and I am thankful for where I'm at and everything. And again, it's early in all of this, but I'm here for you if you guys need something. I know Lane is.
And absolutely.
So if you guys need something, let us know. Reach out.
Please do.
I remember even saying, like, I feel like I'm in a better place, thankfully, to where if others are going through hardships, let me know. Because and that's sort of why we want to keep doing the podcast, and we want to try to get away a little bit.
Yeah, so, absolutely. It's good for us too.
Yeah.
How you doing though? I mean, otherwise, how do you like being an online teacher?
It's different.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is. So I'll tell you this: the anxiety of my kids today. So it was a big check-in day,
Yeah.
And boy, you got those rascals though who don't know how to log in. And I tell you, they know how.
What's a Chromebook?
What in the? I mean, these are the kids who could help you with any tech question. It's kind of funny. I know exactly what they're doing, and so I've had to, a couple of them. I had to kind of, we had a little conference today.
Yeah.
But it's just different. Thankfully I have done a lot of tutoring in the summer, and so I've done a lot of long distance sort of like
Similar.
tutoring. Yeah. And so I was kind of somewhat prepared, and I had resources, and a couple people turned to me, and I kind of shared those and just shared some of my docs and the ways in which we communicate.
Yeah.
It's weird too. It's funny to me actually that like all these ways in which we could communicate, we could make our learning, I think, better. Sort of this new, we always talk about 21st century, the new technology.
Modern teacher or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And those are somewhat sometimes actually frowned upon, sort of like, oh, you're either doing too much or, it's
Not appropriate.
not
to be
appropriate
doing
way to
that.
kind of, conduct class or communicate or whatever. And I'm sort of like, it's all we're doing now.
Right.
It's
I
all
know.
we're doing
I know.
now.
I know.
And it is the preferred method. So it's just been different. It's just an adjustment though. And, I honestly have to say that it is really good because I always want to look for and see the good.
Mm-hmm.
And the other day, my sister's neighbor saw me just out and walked over and said, "Hey, I just want to check on you. Look, I didn't get much at the store, but I got some. And if you guys need anything, let me know." And when we're here, I'm worried about the little, kids and babies and stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay,
I know. I know.
like as much as you look around and you think, wow, then you see just that simple gesture was enough for me to say everything's gonna be okay.
Yep.
It's going to be all right.
I agree too. I think a lot of, it only takes one or two or whatever, a small number of bad things to happen that get blown out, and you think, oh, this is everywhere. Right. And, we saw like people like bum rushing each other at the stores and bottle of wine over people's head, and like violence in grocery stores, which I just like, it's nuts. Yeah. But you're right. I've seen more of people. I mean, I even get just texts from people, my friends were like, everybody okay? You all good? Like, and that was something, someone posted something just kind of musing and thinking like, what if, what's going on is not good. It's not good because a lot of people are dying. Yeah. Right. And they weren't necessarily going to before. It's because of this. And, but they said like, what if because of all this, relationships are strengthened. We rely less on, in some respects, technology. Like people are getting bored at home. Right? You got all the streaming services still. Yeah. Got your phone still. Yep. And people are getting bored. Maybe it will drive, like sometimes it takes something being taken away for you to realize, wow, that was awesome to be able to just go to the pub. Yeah. And turn my phone off and talk to people. Or, maybe us coming out and checking in with our neighbors will help us have relationships with our neighbors, the people right next door, instead of, oh, the neighbor's out in the yard. I'm going to wait until... I'm going to wait until they go inside before I go take the trash out, kind of a deal. I've done before, right? Lots of times. And I don't know. Yeah, it's helped me realize I'm not as introverted as I thought. Like we were talking about this earlier. I thought that I was like, nope, 100% way on the edge. Introvert, don't need people. Yeah. And I'm thinking like, man, I miss like just in the small interactions with other people that may not seem like much, but they are a good thing. They're I don't know. Community, man. When your community is affected and it's in such a broad way too, it's crazy. It's just crazy, right? It is, and I think out of nowhere too, seemingly out of nowhere. Anyway, I mean, I know that there was maybe we didn't know about it. I don't know. For me, it felt completely out of nowhere. Yeah. Well, I always say that, and I think like that has been sort of a challenge to myself and to other people, which is let's try to see as much good as we can, and let's try to make the best out of this, and maybe some good will come of it. And like it's crazy. Like how can you say that? Well, I don't know. Like what else? Like what other perspective do you want to take on it? Yeah. I sure hope that this is it. I like every day you sort of hope like it just stops dead in its tracks and we're just done. That would be great.
and that would be awesome. And still hoping that we learn something. Like today in my conferences with my students, I got a little jaded over the past year about school and education and stuff.
It's easy to do, man.
And it's just sort of just where I am in life, and it's crazy because I never thought that would happen. I was told that it would, and it's funny. You always think about that.
No, that won't happen to me.
But those kids, when I got onto conference with them today, it was crazy. It's only been a week, you know, and they were sort of like so happy.
Yep.
And it made me feel good. I was like, what is going on, guys? Like, how you doing?
Well, that's the reason
parents and I'm talking to and it's just like, wow, okay, it's actually good to connect. And even though they would have gotten that same break on like a spring break or whatever, I started to think, you know what? Even when they come back from spring break, they're happy to be back. Right. And in a weird way, like it wasn't long enough and you wanted more, but when they come back from the summer, it's that structure. You want it again. You want to go back to.
Well, and that's the reason we do it for those relationships, right? That's the reason we're teachers, is because you get to, you get to impact young kids' lives every single day. And I don't know, that's the best part of being a teacher. 100% the best part of being a teacher. The same thing for me is true. I haven't had phone calls or conferences or anything because my kids are younger, but I started a group and have been able to post things in there that are just like today it was, with all the rain, it's been a great time to stay inside and read. Here's a picture of my favorite place to read in my house. Show me yours. Yep. So it's like almost like the academic stuff is being taken care of, and I'm able to interact with them on another level as well, without the whole, oh my gosh, just the stress of being like, got to cram this in, got to cram that in, got to make sure we get to this, and here's the schedule for the day. And I feel like that junk, I was able to fight it more recently. Like right before this was happening, I was able to fight it more. Right. With not letting that rule my day instead of like getting to know my kids. I was able to come back a little bit, but it really shows how much stuff. Yeah, just sit down. Hold on. We'll get to it later. We can't talk about that right now. We can talk about it later. It's always that. Yeah. And I think it's highlighted to me how much better I could know my kids. Yeah. How much better as people we could know each other if it wasn't so much like, well, deadline, this, that, schedule, time. That robs us of so much. Like, okay, here with Aragorn, right? Yeah. Like, sign's not here yet. Just linger for a little bit. Right. We got to get back home, man. Right. Shire's calling us. Let's chill. Let's hang out. Just wait. Right. Let's wait. Yeah. So. Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's different, but I think good will come of it, and I like that. Like, we're connecting in a different way, and I think there is, just keep looking for the positive and keep supporting each other, because there are people who are truly hurting and who are really going through like a very difficult time, and it's something like, it's amazed me too that my students actually, at first. And again, I always say they're kids. They're what it takes time. Like once they realize what's going on and they realize there's an issue and a problem and it's very serious, they'll take it serious. Yeah, they will. Like it took adults. It took everybody a while. And now I see them doing awesome things. Most of my kids are babysitting. Most of them. Wow. And most of them are babysitting for either free. Or just for whatever, like just to kind of get a lot of different things. I've heard all these different stories of those kids stepping up and doing things that are helping their community and stuff. And I thought, that's what I'm talking about. That's where it's at. Amazing, man. That's what we need. That is where it's at. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. Well, we hope you're safe where you are. Big one. Yeah. Little Charlotte's birthday is this next week. Yeah. Our Gondorian princess is turning 1 year old. I don't know if we're going to have a party with our family yet, or if we're just doing, my mom said something about dropping presents off, but we saw them today. So outside of just the four of us, 5 of us unborn, but like we haven't seen anybody this whole week, which seems like a lot longer until today. We saw my parents today and we saw you today. Yeah. So, I don't know if we'll have any kind of party for, like, in terms of like having people over and stuff, but little Charlotte Jean, 1 year old, can't believe it, starting to talk, starting to walk. Dude, I'm amazed at the bond. So we finally saw Frozen 2, right? Yeah. Because it came out this week, and The girls, we showed it to them like Monday, Tuesday, whatever it was. And I watched that movie. I'm like, those sisters love each other so much. And it reminds me so much of Winnie and Charlotte, like close in age, have their own little language. Make each other feel better when even Sarah and I can't, and it's just amazing. Like it's nuts. And then to think Charlotte's 1, so that means Winnie's like almost 2.5.
Yeah,
it's mind boggling, dude.
So today I got to see Charlotte do her adult talk. Like
I wasn't around for this. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I mean, it's almost like her face changed too a little bit. Like she was sort of like, and she gave us all sort of a. Like she at first was kind of like getting a little frustrated, and no one was listening. And then she just started like actually talking to us, and it sounded again. It was just baby gibberish, but I was like, I was locked in. I was like, what'd you say,
cute, man?
What'd you say? And then as soon as I did it too, as soon as I locked, I was like, what'd you say, Charlotte? She just started grinning and laughing because she knew she had put on a show. It was great.
She is great. Like her smile. There's nothing like her smile.
Yeah,
nothing like her smile. And she's ornery. And she knows it. Yeah. She's everything, man.
She's so smart. I wanted to say too, so I wanted to thank you because I think it was just this past weekend. Yeah. Where this was, oh my gosh. Like I said, people step up and things, right?
Rachel's birthday. Yeah.
Yeah. And, at first I was getting kind of sad. Yeah. And I really was. As her uncle and everything, I was like, when you need her to, I don't know, like we got down, we talked to her about why everyone wasn't coming to her birthday. Yeah, yeah. And for a little 5-year-old, for her superhero birthday, no one could make it.
Crazy, man.
And like her one little cousin made it, and that was enough, and that was everything. Yeah. And she got to just, so to get videos, to tell her that other kids were thinking about her, and to do FaceTime and stuff like that. I was so just proud of her. That's all I want to say. It's just like I was so proud of Rachel for the way she kind of
so hard.
5. I mean, like the cool thing about 5 is you can just go like that.
Yeah,
just
right.
5.
Yep.
Go, how old are you? 5. I'm 5. You're not even asking? I'm 5.
Not doing any of this stuff.
None of that stuff. I'm done with that.
I'm 5.
So she's 5, and I'm like, oh, this is so cool. But
she's beautiful.
It was so yeah. It's because I was thinking about you said Charlotte's birthday coming up, and again, even though she's just 1, it's sort of like oh man, it's during this, but it is sometimes too. I also think like that was such a good birthday that we had because it was just intimate. Yep, and it was just us, we were just having a good time and got to really just do what little kids want to do, which is just play. Yeah, they just want to play. Yep. So all the time, by the way.
All the time. And Winnie, we're starting to potty train. So just any prayers or vibes or whatever you want to throw our way. But she'll do a great job. She did a great job today, actually, for the first time. Sarah, of course, like the best parent in the world, is she bought a book on potty training. Not like a little book, like a big thick book, and read it all. And she's like, Lane, this is what we have to do. We have to do this and then do that. And I'm like, wow, all right. Just again, like if Sarah wasn't around, we'd all be naked, wandering around like eating Cheerios. Right. I'd be like, girls, just have Cheerios. Like that's fine. Like, she's amazing. So yeah. Shout out to Goldberry, to little Winnie, and to Charlotte. Nice. Gondorian princess. So a little what's it called? Dropping Eaves?
Dropping Eaves.
Wow. So the show has been put on a hiatus like everything else at this time due to this time it's due to COVID-19. It's not due to the oneclickbait.net. Not much news other than that, just that there's no restart date yet that I've seen. I want to say like maybe they're taking a month or 2 off or something, but we'll keep our ears out to listen for that, and then I'm sure all you uppers will let us know when you hear something. But I did read something recently that the 2021 release is confirmed. Mm-hmm. So that year, so like you were talking about, I think it was last episode. Yeah, Wheel of Time in the spring and LOTR Prime in the fall of 2021.
And the falls are big. We said like that's the big time
money
to
maker.
Something.
Yep. Boom. Yep. So I don't know if this will affect that at all. We'll see. But as of right now, that's the time frame going forward. So And then in other corners of Middle Earth, so Fan Expo Dallas 2020, we've been in contact with many of you who've contacted us about us going. We had mentioned, but we were going. It's been postponed until June. Understandable, but still a bummer, especially because we haven't even shared this yet with anybody, but those press passes that we applied for, we got. So we were going to be able to have a little extra access. And we were going to kind of make it a surprise. But now, man, I wonder, like, what do you think? Is this, like, I know how rare it was to be able to get the 4 Hobbits to do it in the first place.
Right.
So to think about this being pushed back, like, at least right now, just like 3 months, it might even be longer. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
Like, does this even happen in the same way? Do we get all 4 Hobbits? I don't know. I wonder. I doubt, because they have so much going on too. Like, they have jobs. Like, acting jobs would take precedent over going to, Fan Expo in Dallas.
Right.
So if it gets pushed back too far, man,
I know.
it's a bummer. It's a major bummer.
It is a bummer. Yeah, it sucks. And we just have no idea. This could, it actually could end up just being canceled outright.
Right.
And then even if it does go as planned, we may not have all four Hobbits.
Hobbits.
Fudge.
Yeah, that's actually what they're known as.
The Hobbits. Wow. But yeah, if that happened, that just kind of, it is a bummer, because we had a little extra access, and it was gonna be kind of cool to be there and to be a Lord of the Rings podcast, and there to it just would be neat.
Yep. And we were excited to see a lot of you too, and we know a lot of you were planning on going, and
we were almost more excited. That was
that was gonna be, and we originally. When it got announced that it was being postponed, we had talked about, did we just fly down to Dallas and have a meetup?
Right.
And then when we realized, all the stuff going on and the travel precautions, we're like, we probably should just, if it gets rescheduled, we'll go. If not, we'll try to get down to Rohan, y'all. The gathering. So that's kind of a bummer. But anyway, if it does end up happening, we look forward to seeing you guys there. We can't wait for that. Most recent poll, how are you doing in your own personal house of healing, i.e. social distancing, is what was asked. 84% of you said that you're loving it. 16% of you said that you're losing it. 148 votes. So some great comments from people. And also, like, people who are uppers who are working in the medical field. Right? Uppers who are nurses, doctors, and they're dealing with this stuff right in their face all day long. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
And so hats off to you, like the real healers out there that are doing amazing work. And putting yourself at risk, and just, I don't know, it's amazing. Yeah. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. But yeah, so that's... what do we got here? I think we're into Bywater Post, right?
Yeah.
Is that it, buddy?
Okay. Yeah, and actually, so if you wouldn't mind, I'm literally worried my phone is going to...
Oh, that's fine. You want me to read it?
Yeah, so if you scroll down there, this is great. So I found, I was going through just to kind of, since last week we did part 1, I wanted to get a part 2 Bywater Post story in here. This person has been around.
Yeah.
In the group.
Yes. Yep.
And I was like, okay.
She's a big mover.
Yes.
She loves Further Up and is, in both groups, but amazing, positive, like everybody. I don't even need to say that anymore, I guess. But she's just incredible. So I can't wait to hear her.
Yeah. All right. You want to read it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Sumeya, and I'm writing this as I listen to episode number 31, Treebeard. I'm a recent listener, having discovered this podcast in the beginning of June, I think. But God, I love it. I've never listened to a podcast before. I always end up zoning out. But I started a new job overseas this year, and I was feeling a little lonely, and I was really just looking for something that would help. Would make me feel less isolated, and was also about something I loved. Your podcast is genuinely beautiful and wonderful to listen to. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for creating it and keeping it up, and inviting us to be as involved as we can be. I mean, Sumeya, come on. You're amazing. You're amazing. This is going to be long, and I apologize in advance, even though I know you guys will say, We don't mind. Don't apologize. My Tolkien journey began when I was around 10 years old. My uncle, a family friend, the Bilbo to my Frodo, if you will, brought the movies over on VHS to watch with my parents. It was really late at night and a long movie, so I drifted in and out of it, but the bits I did see kind of merged with my dreams and settled deep in my brain.
Wow.
This is the most, I've never heard another one like this so far.
Wow.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm a huge 5 use. Is that 5 or 4?
That's 4.
Whew. I'm a huge reader to the point where the librarians of my rather large library all knew me on sight because I was always in there with a tower of books tucked under my chin. But LOTR was really hard for me to get into, being both dense and full of names and kind of flowery. Yeah, to say the least. But I persevered and got over the hurdle of the language and devoured them. My experience with the movies is sort of intertwined with my experience with the books, so that it's all muddled in my head and I can't quite separate them. I don't mind at all. I love them as individual entities, like cousins. Man, they are like cousins. They're beautiful and wonderful in their own way, even with their differences. So true. Perfectly stated. Years later, I introduced the audiobooks to the uncle who brought the movies over. Interestingly, he'd never read the series despite being a diehard fan. But he had long commutes, so I borrowed the audiobooks from the library and gave them to him. He loved them, and we bonded a lot over the books. For my 16th birthday, he took me to a bookstore and told me to choose any book I wanted, and he'd buy it for me. I chose The Peoples of Middle-earth. In university, I played around with the idea of doing a read-along essay sort of thing where I approached LOTR from a Muslim perspective to expand on all the ways the books resonate with me as a Muslim. It's interesting to hear you guys do the same from a Christian perspective. I joined a literary club this year, and I think it'll be a great place to do that now. Okay, and I want to say that Sumaya has like started a podcast.
I thought I think
okay,
so.
Okay. And I still need to listen.
Yeah.
I hope she's still doing it because this fascinates me, and I love it. I love it.
Yep.
Last year, I also found the guy who recorded the audiobooks that merged the soundtrack for the movies. Yep, and we've played that a couple times. An absolute treasure. And he kindly gave me the download link, which is technically illegal, I think, but shh. Oh, you played a sample way back during your reread of Fellowship. It was so fun to hear that. Small world. Anyway, Tolkien inspired me to write my own fantasy epic using my own language and culture and mythical elements, like Tolkien did. Wow, this is so cool. I've been planning it for years, but I've actually started writing it this year. Good job.
Wow.
And I'm making headway on it, which is really exciting. That is so cool. I'd love to publish it one day, but in the meantime, I'll be rereading the series or re-listening to it, listening to the soundtrack when I need to feel calm, and watching the films biannually like I have for the past few years. My newest LOTR tradition, listening to your podcast. I can't wait to catch up, but in the meantime, I'm loving the journey. Once again, thank you so much, especially if you actually read this long post. Your podcast, like a Rendil star, is a light to me in dark places. Wow.
Oh, Sumaya, wow.
Sumaya, like, I don't want to flatter myself, but like because she's incredible, but I'm reading this and I'm like, this is how my mind works too. Like I'm thinking, wow, like kindred. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, just so cool. I love how I don't know if I've ever heard someone say that their first experience, like, late at night, long movie, right, young, merged with their sleep and their dreams at night. That is amazing.
That's pretty cool. Because I can actually kind of, I feel that, right? Like you're young enough that where it's like you've experienced, it was, it carried over into your dreams and it got embedded deep.
And in a way,
you don't remember exactly that first, view, it's.
And in a way, isn't that how it kind of captured all of us in a way?
Yeah.
And here it was literally and both.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. I love that it's her uncle too. Like, I think that's awesome because me being like having, a niece and nephew, I'm just always trying to sort of like,
and like Uncle Bilbo,
Yes,
I mean, that's perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. I can't wait to, like, if you ever would like us to read your story at any time, let us know. That'd be really, really cool.
That's cool. That's cool that people are doing that. I love that you're, because it's fascinating what goes on in the mind and stories, and I love hearing you tell your story. And
bro, it's kind of like a huge Inklings.
Yes.
I don't know if we've ever acknowledged that, but it's like
Yeah.
a bunch of writers and artists that share their stuff and
Yeah.
can give each other feedback, and
Encourage
they feel
one another.
safe. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. It's so cool.
It's very cool.
So Maya, thank you. That is awesome.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
Literally
Wow,
awesome.
I love it. Love it. All right. Well, wow. Hard to move on from that one, but we'll step down because this is definitely a huge step down. Strawberries with cream. Got a burp in there.
Get it out.
So we haven't acknowledged this, but I had a little shave. I don't know if you can see that.
That's true. Yeah,
you
we
notice
have
that?
I'll tell you who did
to
notice
help-
it.
What'd you say?
So I'll tell you who did notice it.
I know.
Wow.
You know what though? Like, okay, so he's referring to Winnie. She was not happy about this.
No.
And I didn't think she'd be. I've shaved before, but she was a lot younger, and so she's starting to associate. You know, obviously she's developing, right? And I was like, yeah, it won't be a big deal this time either. She was not happy, but I'll tell you what, man, she bounced back faster than I thought she would.
Yeah.
After bath time, I'm getting ready to get her out of the tub. I said, honey, it's time. We got to get dressed. You know, time for bed. She
Right.
goes, Daddy, I like your face.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I did, this for, because it's supposedly having a beard, promotes,
Yeah.
spread and everything. And so my question to you is, when are you?
When am I doing it?
Well, I mean, I'm not talking about your beard. I'm talking about your actual hair, like the LBPT. When are you going to get it out and just whack that thing off?
You think that's promoting the?
I gotta be able to say that
Wow! It actually took me a second to catch that one. Okay,
in a better way.
Wow. Moment of silence for
But
what
when?
you said.
When?
I don't know.
And I know Katie right now is
well,
going, seriously, this
stop talking about
LBPT
the-
thing
yeah,
again?
right.
Yeah, Katie,
well,
right?
I don't know. I think again, I was growing it out for LEP, but I don't know. I think it maybe
Did you
is
at
time.
first think that like LEP was like a partial abbreviation of LBPT and you got confused or something? Did you think the party was for your lower back ponytail?
Well,
You did, didn't you?
really know what was. Yeah, you use a lot of abbreviations that yeah. I don't know. I think I do need to. I'm gonna need
You
to.
ignorant pig.
I'm gonna need to cut. I'm gonna need to cut it off.
I haven't said it for a while. There it is. You ignorant pig.
I don't know. But the thing is, for the most part, it's tucked away.
I don't need to know that.
It's
I just need to know when you're going to get it out and whack it off.
oh Lord! All right.
So
very
recount
soon.
a time
Very soon.
one of your homeboys or homegirls got the recognition they've always deserved. So this is obviously alluding to Aragorn and, his coming into the, getting crowned, if you will.
Yeah.
So, I
That's
honestly
funny.
I actually don't have one that I can think
because
of.
I was about to say the same thing. So I'm gonna refer
Is
to my
this the
buddy,
first time this ever happened?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're going to pull one out of your butt, though?
Yeah, I am actually.
Get that
I gotta
ponytail out of the way.
Part the ponytail, and then I'll. Wow. So, my buddy Tom, this is great. We used to call each other. Gosh, I'm trying to think. This is before he was married. Okay, well, if that says something.
Okay, I thought you meant like he wasn't allowed out of the house now or something.
Well, I don't know. We used to call him about this more often.
We're still waiting him to come to the Shire. Tom, come on.
Well, exactly. And I'm going to get him out here. I'm going to. It's a plan. But I would call him. And I would just say, like we'd start talking, and I could actually hear him on the either I was driving back and he was either at work or whatever, and I would hear him. I could literally hear him pull up his sleeve and just. He would start tapping his left arm, okay, and we kind of had this ongoing conversation where we were sort of like, take me out of the game, bring in the lefty, bring in the lefty, and Tom would ask me, he'd be like, dude, are we still losing? Like, are we still losing? We always had these baseball analogies, right? I was like, I don't know what it was, like.
They're the easiest to do, aren't they?
Yeah. It was always just sort of
well,
like,
at least for us. Like
I was like, I can't remember the last time I won a game, Tom. And he was like, yeah, same here. And so, like, talk about the opposite of recognition. We just weren't winning for the longest time.
Well, you were still waiting for that recognition is what it was.
Right.
Like,
I guess
when's our time coming, man?
That's what I'm saying. So his time came.
Oh, his wedding day.
His wedding day.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Which
and
you
so
arranged pretty much.
I did. And it got to the point where, like, I remember when he tried to pull one over on me, and we had the same old thing. I'd call him, and he'd just be like, I got picked off, stealing second or whatever. I'm like, seriously, I'm tired of it. At this point, I'm tired of it. I'm like, you
pulled a hammy.
I was like, I just interrupted you texting your fiance, didn't I? And he was just sort of like, he's like, come on now, that's not true. I'm sitting over here, yes, it is, because like when I gave his like I was his best man at his wedding, and I gave this speech, I was like, you just drifted apart. Like, I mean, like Night of the Roxbury, What Is Love song comes on at the bar, and I'm looking for my boy to do the little what's the little like the right. I look for him. He's doing it, but he's drifting further away from me, and he's heading to his fiance, and I'm going,
bro.
That's strange.
That's not right.
That's strange. So he had started winning, and I was happy for him. Mm-hmm. And so he started to and he's a good guy, and he was one of those people who he's just they have such a just a good marriage. I often people know you and Sarah, and I think you guys have a really good marriage too, and I love being around it. And it's like Tom and Emily, I love the banter, and it's just like when you see that, and you see people really in love, it makes you feel good. And so I guess that's one of my homeboys who finally, he finally won a game.
I think maybe I got one.
Yeah.
One of my friends, this was years ago.
You getting choked up?
No, I'm swallowing mucus. And dramatic effect.
Okay.
Got a hand delivered letter from the president.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
right.
That man who, he said that he was still losing.
Yeah.
That was Ezra Kirk.
Right.
And I was there that day. I was there. You didn't know it, but I saw you. And
you were the delivery boy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I was the bearer. Right. I didn't bear your crown, but I bore your letter with that, William Jefferson Clinton's signature on it.
Wow.
And didn't Hillary put a kissy lips on it too? So
yeah, she did.
Yeah, that's mine.
That's yours. I got it.
So congrats,
the recognition.
Now they always say congratulations. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know. Did you ever? I mean, I just go back to that. I really enjoy thinking about the times where Tom and I were losing.
Yeah,
it was a lot. I
was usually by myself when that stuff was going on.
See, in
isolation, bro.
You were also losing. We just didn't talk about it.
I was talking to myself. I was like, what do you think is going to happen? I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Well, it could be worse. Could it be? I don't know. Right. I was having a Sam or Gollum Smeagol conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, oh my gosh. I thought of the other character. So it's Smeagol Gollum. It's Samwise and Slamwise.
Wow.
That's what it is.
Hey, did you ever think of that word you were trying to get?
No, dude. It's so depressing. This is a relatively short episode, wasn't it?
I think so. Maybe, kind of. An hour and almost probably still 2 hours.
I don't feel as towered. I don't feel as towered.
Yeah.
I know. I don't sound like it. I don't feel as tired.
Definitely use some eye drops, though.
I'm down for watching something afterwards.
Oh, yeah. We got to. Yeah. Get it out of the system.
Yeah. Well, how can our friends share the load?
Well, guys, again, as the show kind of ramps, we get closer to that. Like next year, reviews are always great on iTunes. Sending in your story is great.
Hashtag LOTR on Prime.
Hashtag is right. Also, the Facebook group. I think it's
great.
I think when people join that, I know people are, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, whatever, we are doing more live. I am trying.
Dude, you're getting live. You tried to. Is it still sitting over there? The coffee?
Yeah, I drank some of it, though. I drank like half of it. If you guys saw me in that live, it was pretty terrible. I made the worst cup of coffee I've ever made in my life. Although it started off great. I had a great hot cup of coffee, instant. Yeah. Made a cardinal sin up in this house, and then I tried to turn it cold, and it just was a catastrophe, an absolute catastrophe. So yeah, but we're doing more of that kind of stuff. So it's always neat because I'm hoping, here's me thinking, I don't know, LOTR on Prime. They come over. They look at the, Now, again, actually, I guess I should be careful because I'm doing more lives, and if I'm hoping LOTR on Prime shows up, I need to probably stop So like,
dude, what if you were
know when that happens?
What if they're watching you live and they're like, Russell Crowe for a quarter of the price.
Wow,
Just get him out here. Just get him out here.
What if it's the opposite? That they're watching it, they're like, you know what? We were gonna send some of our folks to be interviewed, but this guy's an absolute nut job. Instant coffee.
He's calling this coffee. This is coffee for this guy.
Oh man,
I just love it. It's so funny because it's like either Starbucks or you're like, I'm gonna go get instant coffee.
Instant coffee.
I don't understand
There's no in between. Nada. So yeah. And that's where I'm at. But yeah, you guys can do all those different things just to kind of support, share the load, and help out. It's great. So it's we're gonna be posting some free content over on Patreon. So there's gonna be a bunch of stuff up there for you guys, and we have the video element. Honestly, another great way you could support the podcast. And we've
had a lot of people jumping in and subscribing
to YouTube.
Yeah, to YouTube.
Yeah, if you guys head over to the YouTube page and you subscribe there, I think I have the last 2 or 3 episodes video. I think.
1, 2. There'll
At
be 3,
least 2, if not
unexpected
3
podcasts, and then there's a further up,
right?
And then there's, if you want to share what we just did before, Lost
Sock.
Sock.
We got the Lost Sock.
5 episodes. So that was at 10 hours at least,
right?
Of video you can enjoy while this stuff's going on. That you can.
We thought that'd be good. This is a good time to. I got the internet down to do it, and so I think we're good.
Your little Gandalf pad.
Yeah, by the way, which we will talk about once upon a time here. I think after this book is over, and I think about Gandalf, I want to share some of my thoughts. I've been thinking about old Gandalf quite a bit actually recently.
Do you think he had to like put it up for sale when he went to the Grey Havens?
That's what I'm wondering.
Was he like, or did he just?
I think it's still there,
dude. I almost think like maybe he came into it, found it the way it was, kind of broken down,
right?
Used it as a base, and then by the time his time was up. Yeah. It was back to how it was when he found it.
Yeah.
And he was like, I leave this place as I found it.
Yeah. Yeah. It serves its purpose, and that's it. Yeah. But what relics are there? What little hidden, things or markings,
Interesting. Yeah, did he like practice his G rune?
There's a lot.
Does he like, no, this is cursive.
I think there's a lot there.
This is like if I'm going formal.
Yeah. So.
I don't know.
All right.
Well, we want to thank you for, hanging out with us, being social at a distance, which is what we should be doing.
Yep.
And I don't know. Next time, we've got a lot of goodbyes to a lot of people. In Chapter 6, Many Partings.
Yeah. If you like our podcast, don't forget to subscribe, like us, write a review, leave a comment, or send us a Shadowfax.
We'll see you in a fortnight. And remember, Frodo lives.